How's your dog doing? So, as Toki Pona is getting popularity, getting an ISO code, generally creeping its way across the internet and other stuff, people naturally want to spread it. This includes spreading it to language learning apps like Duolingo, creating a Wikipedia page, and stuff like that. So, should Toki Pona be on Duolingo? And my answer is no. There are many issues with this. First off, inconsistent translations can happen, especially if you have multiple people working on it. You could have one person translate an apple as kililoye, and someone might even translate it as kilelaso because sometimes apples are green, which is inconsistent. Be able to really work that into Duolingo's typical format. Also, Toki Pona is constantly changing. I know every language is always changing, but Toki Pona kind of accelerates that because the community is incredibly open to change and people are trying to suggest new ideas for things all the time. Just look at how many different scripts, writing systems, and number systems there are for Toki Pona, and people trying to introduce new particles for new grammatical concepts. There's a lot of change happening, and I'm sure the language will not look the same 5 years from now. And we can't just have a Duolingo course that has to be updated every couple of months to adapt with whatever's new and changing. Also, again, there are many different interpretations of how people see things. Maybe one person tries to translate, like I said with the Apple example, maybe someone tries to translate it as Kililoye, but the correct way on Duolingo was Kililaso. You just can't account for different interpretations, which is naturally a part of Toki Pona. There's not a standard for whatever is translated to Toki Pona, so it's kind of hard to include into Duolingo, which is based on getting it right rather than understandability or something like that. Also, if this happens, it could possibly fossilize the language. Toki Pona might get stuck in whatever form Duolingo has it in, and then we're just kind of stuck here not really being able to add anything new, or make any innovations, or make any sort of changes. It's just going to be stuck as the way Duolingo has it because that's how most people will come to learn it. And also, generally not against the people who are trying to do this. Like, I understand that they want to spread it, but it's kind of a cheap way of doing that. Doing it through Duolingo is never going to be the good way to actually get people to learn the language. Sure, they'll be aware of it, but they're not actually going to learn it and appreciate it well. A small fraction will, sure, but not that many people will. With all the courses on Duolingo, someone's probably taken the Turkish course before. They're not actually appreciating Turkish as a language. Most of them aren't anyway. Some of them might go on to actually learn Turkish. What would be better is just to kind of have it spread naturally, not through Duolingo or other language learning apps. Now, maybe someday someone will come up with a really good one, but as I've mentioned in a previous video, I am not a fan of language learning apps. I just don't think that they're the best way to learn a language, or for the most part, most things in general, depending on what it is though, but especially languages. So what should we really do? What I recommend is to try and spread the language naturally, normally, when relevant. If someone's talking about a language to learn, recommend it to them. Don't try to get them in through a Toki Pona Duolingo course. Just try to get them to learn it. Recommend them to just learn it the normal way that most of us have learned it, not through what I would consider to be a rather subpar language learning app. If we can just spread it naturally, we'll actually get people who are truly interested in Toki Pona. Because otherwise, we might just have a bunch of people saying like, Mili, and that's like, that's the most that they get out of Toki Pona. Like, I want the people who really come here to get a good experience with good speakers, to be in a good community, instead of having a bunch of people who aren't really interested in it just kind of talking and being like, oh no, you can say mealy or something like that. That's just not helpful. It's not really helping the community. It's not fostering growth in the community. It's just kind of us all being stuck, having to explain to people who learned it through Duolingo that no, you cannot say something like mi, li, sina, li, yan. You can't say something like that. I don't even know what that sentence would mean, but yeah, you can't say that. If we truly get people that are actually interested, we'll get a better quality of speakers. You will actually be able to grow the community and foster more growth with better speakers who are really interested and are truly invested in trying to make the language better and to make the community better. Instead of people who can only say maybe one sentence like onalian and aren't really contributing that much, and they never go on to truly learn it or to truly appreciate it for what it is. Now, I know this kind of makes it seem like I'm trying to be like exclusionary, but I'm not saying that we can expose people to it, but I'm just saying that Duolingo is not the best way because it just gets people who are just looking to quote unquote learn a language and aren't actually going to appreciate it for what it is. Now, maybe some of them will go on to truly learn Toki Pona, but those are probably the same people who, if you just told them about it normally, they'd want to learn it anyway. So I know this video is probably gonna be really short, like maybe 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. So I hope this video was helpful in some way. Just kind of to express my thoughts on this. I know people don't really talk about it much anymore. Like, the subreddit for this has not been active in years. So I don't really think people are truly invested in this idea, but I still think it's worth it bringing up with all this new stuff coming like the ISO code, and people are probably trying to make a new Toki Pona Wikipedia again like we had before. Before it was replaced with Wikipedia. Yeah, I'm not opposed to Toki Pona spreading to more people and becoming like more common. It's just that I just don't want people who aren't really interested in it trying to learn it and then kind of saturating the community with people who don't really know that much about it and aren't even trying to learn that much, and just kind of make it overall a little worse. So again, I'm not trying to be exclusionary. It's just, let's try to have people who are truly invested and will actually do it, rather than people who aren't very interested or are rather disinterested in learning the language truly. Like, I want everyone who learns Toki Pona to truly appreciate it for what it is. So, yeah. Tell your dog it's a die. Alright. Tell your dog it's a die.